Hello everybody and welcome back for more Let's Play Banjo-Tooie. In the last episode we did another backtracking video. We actually got more jiggies than what we expected to, because there's been like quite a lot of them that we missed. In this episode we're going to take this bubble elevator up to the clouds that will lead us to our very next level, and this will actually be the penultimate level of this whole game, or of course the last level in the traditional sense. This is Cloud Cuckooland, and this is without a doubt one of the weirdest, most bizarre levels in the game, and I'll talk more about it. But first, we have an aardvark right here.
Fancy a little physical exercise for a ball?
Not really.
Yes, you do, Banjo. Right, I'm Mr. Fit, and I'm really fit, I am. So fit, in fact, that if you can beat me in 3 events, I'll give you my fitness gold medal.
That's nice.
It is, actually. As you can probably see, Event 1 is a high jump. The bar's set at my best height. All you need to do is jump over it to win.
Yes, that's nice. I'll a little later. But yeah, Banjo, you do need some exercise. You gotta go give workouts. You gotta work on those buns and thighs.
Yeah, buns and ties.
So yeah, that's what I gotta do. Yes, folks, if you're probably wondering what kind of voice I'm using to giving to Mr. Fit, I'm actually using, I say, just go for Bentley voice from Sly Cooper, because everybody knows a Bentley voice, and so you know what? Fuck it, I'm just gonna give it to him, because I felt like it. Alright, so to talk a bit about Cloud Cuckooland, it is absolutely weird, as, I just saw. We also just got ourselves a strange-looking seed, and, well, edible? Well, maybe some seeds are edible. I mean, no, I know they're sunflower seeds. They're edible. Like, the seeds, from they get snacks. Like, usually like sunflower seeds, which I've had before, and not bad though. Just very salty for one thing. I mean, maybe that was part of the point though. But like, I don't know. I guess they kind of overdid it on the salt or something. But yeah, you're gonna run into a lot of weirdness in Cloud Cuckooland because it is very bizarre. There's a lot of things that just don't make any sense whatsoever. It's kind of a mess, but hey, it's enjoyable. So I mean, I like it well enough as it is. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take in these springy step shoes. We're gonna go ahead and do the first part of the triathlon that Mr. Fit has for us. So what we gotta do is jump over this bar height right here, and there we go.
How did you do that? Never mind. We'll move on to event 2 when you find me.
Alright, so, yeah, him being quite a sore fucking loser, he just decided to go and just do another event. Now, the whole event, this whole mission is actually just split into 3 events, because, hence the reason that's actually called a triathlon. So, basically what it is, though, is that after completing those 3 event courses, and that's where you get your jiggy. So, yeah, first thing we did is just do the high jump, or just jump over the bar. The other one is actually going to require Banjo and Kazooie being separate. So for right now, we only have Banjo and Kazooie together for the first event. But for the second event, then we're going to have them split up. So event 2 will just be for Banjo alone, and then the third event is going to be for Kazooie alone. So, but we're not really going to do that. Well, we're actually not going to do that this whole video though, because there's actually quite a few things that we need to do before we can access. It's it's mainly for being able to have better. Being able to go around more in this level, so that's that's what we gotta do. So, and now we're here inside the central cavern, and the central cavern is very large. It's got where a lot of the we can actually go in and then take a few shortcuts. It's another way to get the to travel around this whole level. And we have another egg for us here, and this hatches this creature. Wow, that's a rare Flotus Floatium creature, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that's a Flotus Floatium right here. So what it is, after you hatch it from, we use Kazooie's hatching ability, then Banjo will actually use his taxi pack to get into the, to pack in the Flotus Floatium. Then he himself will actually float to different areas. That way there he can actually get across the, some different platforms. He normally wouldn't though, because that's usually Kazooie's thing, or if he has Kazooie with him. And so that was our very last Black Jinjo, so that's the whole Black Jinjo family completed. So yeah, we've really come this far in terms of the Jinjos. So anyway, so talk more about it. So you actually saw on these, on those flowers, that, like outside of there, that's actually a way of transportation. So if you go in there, then Banjo will actually start flying over to a different area to get access to another part of the area, because because it's all like most of it's like platforming and all that. You'll actually be seeing the cutscene of him going over there, but they outright skip the cutscene after you after you do this for the first time. Just cuts right over. Alright, plant seed, watch it grow. Of the beanstalk, you will go. Oh, well, at least you're still in the rhyming, even though Grunty doesn't do it anymore. Alright, so here's our next JoJo, and this is actually our very last move in the game, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Sack Pack. So for this move, Banjo will actually be able to use his backpack to actually use it as a potato sack. So you remember how, you know, back when we were kids, we used to, like, you know, during those parties that they would have us go into those big potato sacks and you just hop across there. Yep, that's this level is very much like that in a nutshell. So to show it off here, if you press and hold Z and then you press the up C button, then Banjo will hop around like that. And you have to make sure you keep the Z button held for Banjo to still be able to use that sack pack. But yeah, it really does remind me of those sack pack events. You know, back in those old parties, or like birthday parties, like from back when I lived in one of my old neighborhoods. Yeah, that's what we used to do, and you know, it was a lot of fun. You know, a lot of things that you did as a kid. Nowadays, I don't think I can do that anymore, though, because, you know, I've gotten older, and so I feel like that, you know, considering with how much I weigh now, that it'll probably rip through. Don't worry, guys, I'm not fat or anything like that. It's just, you know, having gotten older, then you, it is true, though, that, you know, as you get older, then you actually kind of start to weigh more. So, yeah, that's the kind of thing. Anyway, so we have a talking safe. Wow, right? A super stash. Correct. I have a super stash deluxe. 4-digit, infinite combination. Reinforced strongbox.
But 4 digits only gives you 10,000 combinations.
Hey, no one likes a wise guy. It's enough up here. Let's have a look inside, then. Oh, that might be a problem. I seem to have forgotten my own combination.
Perhaps they should have spent a little more on your intelligence chip.
Damn. I know, sorry fleshy ones, but if you can find the combination, I'll gladly open up. Alright, so all we have to do is that there's actually for the combinations that we have to find, and so that way they're we can be able to open up. He actually does have a Jiggy inside, obviously, not because of course he's gonna have a Jiggy. We already would have guessed right about now, so so yeah. But yeah, that's just all we have to do. They're actually scattered in their own kind of set locations. Don't worry, guys, it's not randomized this time around. But they're in their own kind of set locations though. So you just have to find 4 of the button combinations for him to open up. And well, at least in that case, he's been keeping the Jiggy safe for us. So you know, from anybody else getting it. So what you have to do is that usually you'll find these combination buttons over into these small areas. So what you have to do is that you have to bring out the Clockwork Kazooie egg. And then have a Clockwork Kazooie to go in, and then you just have to blow up the switch. It's actually the only way to do so because you know it literally has the Clockwork Kazooie egg symbol on the switch itself. So that really does just goes to show that, you know, hey, that's what you got to do. And one of those things, you know, where games actually shows you what you have to do, and you know, just seeing the icons, and they tell you, they literally tell you, it's like, hey, you know, if you make sure you pay attention. That's what you have to do, and they just show it off like that. Alright, so to go around a bit here, so yeah, like I said, you know, you're going to see a lot of weirdness and the bizarre factor for Cloud Cuckooland. And as a matter of fact, there's actually more enemies that I haven't gotten over. So these guys that actually just now pop up, I'm actually looking into what they're called. Hang on, there we go. So these guys are called the Flatsos. I think that's what they're called. Let me check. Yeah, they're Flatsos. I literally looked up on the Banjo-Kazooie wiki because you know, I kind of forgot what their names were, but yeah, that's what they're called. They come in different variants where, you know, or different colors, where they hold different weapons. Like, you know, they use sausages, they use candy canes, they use flowers. So yeah, it's a weirdest factor. All right, so what I'm gonna actually do right now, though, is that, you know, just going out here and we're actually breaking this boulder and we're draining out this huge pool of water. And what we're doing, we're back in Pterodactyland, and look at that. So you actually remember this mission, right? I hope you guys haven't forgotten about it. Is that, you know, we met this dinosaur here, Dippy, and he was very thirsty. Yippee! My pool's full of water! Where did it all come from? So, yeah, so you remember that, right? Where we met him, he was very parched, and so, yeah, we had to fill up the pool, and it actually did fall out of the sky. Tastes heavenly. Well, it did come from the clouds, Dippy. Did it? You said it wouldn't just drop out of the sky.
I lied. Just drink it and be happy.
Oh, I am. Here, take my odd-shaped gold tooth in exchange. Alright, folks, so yeah, long last, you know, after all this here, we finally get the mission done with with having Dippy to drink the water. So you know we got the pool filled up. By the way, folks, that Jiggy that we just got that actually counts towards the overall Jiggies in Pterodactyl Land. That does not count for Cloud Cuckooland. That's actually for Pterodactyl Land. So one of those kind of things where you actually get the Jiggy from a different level, even though you're actually currently in another level entirely, though. But it goes to show how how more open this the whole game is, and with the interconnectivity of the whole thing. So it's actually it's really nice. It really does. Really gives the whole overall or the whole game more life. Compared to Banjo-Kazooie, where it's like it feels like your different areas or different locations go from like teleportation devices, like in like going through different corridors and Gruntil does a lair, and then you come out of those metal pads. But no, it's not like that in Banjo-Tooie. Like the world feels more open, all interconnected. So really, it does give it more life, for one thing. So yeah, that was it here. So anyway, so to talk about the Flatsos, so they're not really that much of a threat. They always they randomly pop out of the ground, but they're also very annoying because of the way they just keep popping out like everywhere. But they're not really that much of a threat, though. You just have to use a forward roll, and then that's just it. So they just go down like that, which is kind of odd for a last level. So yeah. I also do want to mention, as you probably might have seen, though, so for some reason, there's only 2 warp pads. Well, actually, one warp area entirely, though. So there's one by the entrance, and then one in the central cavern, and that's like the only way to actually warp between, or to warp around this level. So yeah, that's just about it. So it's kind of weird, though. But anyway. Oh, another ice cube.
Hey, young man, I'm George Ice Cube, stuck up here at this perilous altitude. What happened, George? I was out walking on the icy side of Hailfire Peaks with my wife, Mildred, when a huge blizzard came along and blew me away.
Why not stay up here?
Lovely view. I'm afraid of heights. Now, I reckon I'm above the icy side, so if you could just give me a little push.
Alright, so yeah, this is actually where the husband is located, or, where he blew up there, and, we didn't really break it to him, did we? Well, let's hopefully just, have him down to the icy side, but, he's gonna... Oh! Oh, shit. No! Wrong side! Tell Mildred! I love it! We just murdered a married couple. We literally did. We just murdered them. We killed the wife for a Jinjo, and then we try to help him, but this happened. I don't believe this. I don't understand. What is going on? What is the meaning of all this? I don't understand. I don't know. What is the meaning of all this? And what is the meaning of life? What is the point of life? What is it? What is exactly the point of life? I don't know. I don't know if I wanna go through like this anymore. I don't. I just don't know I don't know. Why are we like this? What is our whole purpose? What is our meaning? All this stuff we have to do. All for the sake of getting a Jiggy. And everything. All the sacrifices they had to do. And everything else. All of this. For a goddamn jigsaw piece. I don't know if I can go on like this anymore. I don't know if... I just don't know. I don't have all the answers to that. I don't. I really don't. What are we doing with our lives? What are we? What are we? Who are we? What is our purpose? What is the point of our existence? Of the whole thing? Can we go on like this anymore? I don't know. I just don't know anymore. I'll never know. Well, I'll never know. We'll never know what our life's gonna be like from now on. If anything, there'll be more sacrifices, more of the hardest choices, and everything. All for a jiggy. Okay, so yeah, so what we did though is that, you know, well, we tried to reunite, you know, George Ice Cube over to his wife, but, you know, I guess that whole thing failed miserably. So what that did though, you know, since he landed right to this hot spring in the fire on the lava side, is that, you know, actually managed to cool it down, and so that's gonna be for later, or for a mission later on. So so that's gonna be later though, because, you know, we still want to cover up with the rest of this whole level. So now I'm pretty sure you guys might have noticed. Did you actually see that there were two Mumbo skulls? There's one red and one blue. So you may be asking, like, why are there two Mumbo skulls? Like, well, what is it doing here? It's like another one of those bizarre factors about the whole theme of this level, how absolutely weird it is. But oh yeah, and this is actually one of those things where the sack pack comes into play. So yeah, if you use the sack pack, then you actually get across dangerous areas like these thorns here. So in other words, it's kind of the replacement wading boots, because, you know, that was actually the whole purpose of the wading boots, of getting across dangerous areas. But that's only for, like, if Banjo-Kazooie were together, you know, hence the fact that, you know, it was a move that was introduced in Banjo-Kazooie when we first learned it in Bubble Glue Swamp. But yeah, in this case, you know, it's only for Banjo himself, though, but it kind of does away with the wading boots, for one thing. I mean, you know, even though it's kind of underutilized at this point, we only use it a couple times in a couple levels, though, but, you know, but that's just about it, so that's all there is. So, anyways, what we're doing, though, is that, you know, going along, you know, after this whole random monologue, is that, so I had Kazooie to go around and find the eggs to hatch the Floatus Floatiums, and then after that, you want to do that first, so just get those out of the way, because, you know, since Kazooie can be able to, well, you know, considering how high they are, and, you know, well, with the spring step shoes, and Kazooie will have a much better height to get up to those platforms. That's where the corridors are. And then we have to do as Banjo is that you have to you basically have to go those different routes because only he can access them, because, you know, Banjo can't really jump that high. But what you do is that you just take those pathways, and then you get to where the floating creature is that Kazooie just hatched, and then you just bring it over with the taxi pack and just float over to the other side of the platforms. And then Banjo will go and toss those magic beans over to the over those patches of the holes of the soil, those soil patches. That way there. It's going to be used for some kind of purpose for a certain somebody who's going to be performing some kind of magic. Oh, also, folks, remember these guys? These are the Zubas or Zubas. Well, I just call them pronounce them as Zubas, but yes, you remember them? They're actually they're from Banjo-Kazooie. They're a returning enemy from Banjo-Kazooie. So yeah, more callbacks here. It's actually kind of ironic that, you know, we'll just have them as returning enemies. They're not exactly so much as overall mooks per se, though, in Banjo-Kazooie, but they actually did make an appearance, and so we encountered them back over in Click Clock Wood, where during the summertime we would have to defeat them all in their nest for the Jiggy. Now they actually did say, you know, when we went to the Ivy, I was talking about that, you know, when I did my Let's Play of Banjo-Kazooie. Is that we went to their nest in the autumn season, and so they said they had moved out somewhere. And so, considering that we're seeing Zubas right now, and they might have a new nest, and that means that this is actually where they're referring to, that where they decided to relocate up in Cloud Cuckooland. So yeah, it's you know, a nice little callback, you know, a nice little connection there that, you know, kind of make it consistent. So there's going to be a couple more callbacks about it too, so that's actually pretty neat. So now, I also want to say, now, Cloud Cuckooland might be pretty confusing to a lot of people, you know, especially if you're having to go through and navigate through the central cavern, because it's basically your main navigation area to get to place to place. And you'll actually see that those music notes that you see right by those corridors, I kind of don't really go for that strategy. So, in other words, do as I say, not as I do. I probably recommend that you use those as breadcrumbs for those, because, you know, at least that way there, if you want to get to some certain area, then you'll actually at least know exactly where to go. But I will say this one thing, it is very confusing. So yeah, I do want to be careful of that, though. But, you know, also I kind of cut myself there because, you know, I was trying to go to that one Mumbo Skull, though, but it's actually for something else, though. And I don't want to spoil it just yet because, you know, it's kind of like a surprise. But I went ahead and picked up this globe because we are actually going to pay Mumbo a visit, and we're actually going to need assistance one last time because, you know, considering it's the last traditional level, then this will actually be the last time we get to play as him. So it's kind of, you know, bittersweet in a way that we're doing these very last things. So, so we're gonna go into the Blue Skull because in my file, in my playthrough, Mumbo Jumbo is actually located in the Blue Skull. So he's actually this is actually where he's residing. And oh, yeah, a Minjo. Yeah, we already got all the blue Jinjos, and see, you know, I've already been reading about the blue Jinjos themselves because, you know, I see them everywhere because it was the very first Jinjo color that we got in this playthrough. So of course, yeah, a Minjo. But here's old pal Mumbo right here, and so we're gonna need assistance one last time for something. But yeah, like I said, yeah, you saw there was like a, you know, the red skull and the blue skull. Oh yeah, did I just say, you know, red skull? Yeah, I literally said red skull. But yeah, you see the red skull and then there's a blue skull. So basically what it is, though, you see in my at least in my playthrough is that, you know, I went to the blue skull, and so that's where Mumbo is. But whenever each time you play your file, it's not always going to be like that. It's one of those randomized kind of things. So so Mumbo himself, depending on your file, he might actually not be in the blue skull. He'll just be in the red skull instead. While the other skull that he's not residing at, it's actually for something else, which I will not get into just yet though because spoilers. But we'll get to that later on, you know, when I say that for last. But yeah, so depending on your file, he might be in the blue skull or he might be in the red skull, like depending on how it's going to be played out. So so I figured just throw that out there. But the other one, you know, like I said, I'll talk more about it because I don't want to spoil it just yet. So, but we'll get to it eventually. Now, I kind of got a little lost there because, you know, what I was trying to get to is that one area where the Mumbo pad is. So yeah, I kind of started wandering around a bit here, and I kind of did a little jump cut because, you know, I just kept getting lost. But it's actually going to be right up there. And well, I at least did want to show off this area though because, you know, because I'm pretty sure some of you guys might be using this as a guide to see where some stuff are. But, you know, I kind of cut some things off, so you might get a little confused, and I do apologize for that. So, I mean, sometimes I probably appreciate, you know, if you're using this as a guide. So at least, you know, I do appreciate if this can be helpful. But at the same time, though, I kind of get a little worried if you are, though, because, you know, I might do some jump cuts, and then you guys get a little confused. So I do want to apologize in advance for that. So, anyways, yeah, I think that's pretty much all there is to say about Cloud Cuckooland. Like I said, it is an absolute mess. It's like, you know, it's weird. It's very very bizarre, but it is also very colorful and fun at the very least. So, you know, at the very least, I like this level for that very reason because of how weird it is and all that, though. And, you know, it does feel at least whimsical in a way. You know, it's kind of bringing back the whole whimsicalness that Banjo-Kazooie had because, you know, Banjo-Tooie definitely it was dark as hell, but I kind of see this whole level as, you know, kind of being like a callback to Banjo-Kazooie with how whimsical it is. So, you know, just kind of want to bring this kind of charm here. So, anyway, so this is going to be our very last spell in this whole game, and for this level, this is the Raindance. So, you guys probably remember Raindance. You know that. Well, they think that Mumbo's very well known for. As a matter of fact, I think that's kind of what witch doctors tend to use from what I believe. So what he's doing is that you want to make sure to actually plant put the magic seeds into the patch of soil first. Make sure you do that first. And then what happens afterwards, if you have Mumbo perform his Raindance, then it'll actually start raining all over, and then it'll actually make the seeds grow into beanstalks. And so those beanstalks we'll definitely use as our way to get to different areas, especially for, you know, for Mr. Fitz Triathlon. And so we have to get to event 2, but we're going to be doing this as Banjo alone, so that way there he can actually climb up the beanstalk and then get to that area. So yeah, that's basically that's just all it is. So yeah, to talk about Mumbo's Raindance. So it's also another kind of reference as well, where like you know, well, we actually don't get to hear the theme though, but in the beta version of Banjo-Kazooie, there actually is this one audio file, which I think is still in the game's code, where, you know, where Mumbo actually has his own chants. You know, it's basically called Mumbo's Raindance, but it's like the beta version of it, which I'm sure a lot of you guys might have heard about. So if you guys want to know more, then I can just put the link in the description so that way there you guys can listen. But yeah, that was like the original Raindance. So it's kind of like that in a way though, but it's more like, you know, traditional in a sense. You know, kind of more where, you know, or more jungle theme and all that. But yeah, that was in the beta version of Banjo-Kazooie. So like, you know, if you want to get that a listen, and so, you know, it's all his chance there. and all that. So, you know, it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of short there, but, you know, I can imagine, like, you know, with Greg Kirkhope kind of doing, constantly doing those chants there, because, you know, that's what he does, because he did do the voice of Mumbo, for one thing, so. Anyway, so that should be it for this video. So we're pretty much done all the bow. We haven't gotten a single jiggy in this game. That's only because we need to get some stuff out of the way to get more jiggies for this level, though. But we're gonna get more in the next episode. So next time on Let's Play Banjo-Tooie, we're gonna be doing all that and getting more jiggies in this game. So I will see you guys next time.